A couple of weeks ago, two of my best friends were having their 23rd birthdays 2 days apart. I wanted to get them a gift, to do something for them, because they're two of my best friends. But I didn't have any extra money to get them the tried and true gift card or even a 6-pack of beer. Suddenly, I had an idea to make them each their own collage video of sorts, with all the video clips I could find of them on my phone. Then, to take it a step further, I wanted to make it sentimental and special. But how was I going to evoke that feeling? On my phone late that night, while taking a break from downloading clips of my Snap memories, I found my inspiration. TikToks started to show up on my For You page left and right of vintage-looking film or old digi-cam footage, with bittersweet music behind it. The next day, I slaved away on editing these clips together and watched tutorials on how to make my footage look retro with Premiere Pro, and these were the final results.
Dude, you ran over my foot.
I'm a birdie!
The videos aren't for me, but I feel something while watching these, and it's something that regular raw clips can't deliver. I'm fascinated by this, and now I can't stop adding it to every project I do. There's something weirdly powerful about old footage. You see a shaky camcorder clip from 2004, or a blurry photo taken on a chunky silver digital camera, and for some reason, it hits harder than anything shot on our iPhones today. You can almost feel it, like you were there, and you kind of miss it. That feeling is what this video is about, the suspect being nostalgia. I've been wondering lately, why do these outdated visuals of low quality formats somehow draw us in more than the perfectly crisp ones we have today? This nostalgic style you're seeing takes a bunch of forms, and some examples are Super 8 film, VHS camcorders, mid-2000s digital cameras, and even early YouTube videos shot on webcams. Highlights of the style are motion blur or flickering, grain, and maybe some distortion in the way the audio sounds. This style is suddenly everywhere again, on social media, in shows, and as mentioned, even I can't stop myself from including that aesthetic in pretty much all of my recent projects. According to an article on Adorama, Gen Z is actively reviving the old digital cameras, partly for the aesthetics, but also because they might be craving a tangible realness in capturing memories, while most of the other ones seem flat and deadpan. Another piece in the Harvard Crimson talks about students ditching smartphones at parties in favor of digital point-and-shoots. I've seen this firsthand at parties and bars alike. Out of the corner of my eye, I'll see a flash of one of these cameras and wish I had brought one too. And I know point-and-shoots can probably be pretty expensive now and hard to come by, so if you just have your phone on you and you're looking to get photos like this, download the app called Lapse on your iPhone, or Android if they have it on Android. This video is not sponsored in any way, I just really love this app and I try to share it with as many people as I can. It takes perfect vintage looking photos, just like what you're seeing on screen right now, right out of the app. It's all free, so I highly recommend it, and it's perfect for capturing this vibe that this video is talking about. And it's not captured visuals that receive this treatment, but nostalgia's driving fashion, music, and even how brands market to us. The research from GWI says it best. In a world of uncertainty, nostalgia might offer us comfort, control, and a feeling of home. The weird part is that these clips aren't even good quality compared to today's standards, because of the characteristics mentioned earlier. But they hit harder, and I think it's because they actually feel like memories. Like when we're trying to recall them in our heads, they might look a little messy or kind of warm and fuzzy. I read this article that said nostalgia isn't really about remembering things perfectly, but it's about remembering how they felt. And I think that's what these old videos do. They feel lived in and honest. There's no pressure to be perfect or cinematic. You're not documenting it for clout or just to show that you went on a cool trip to Italy, but you're just capturing what happened and not necessarily worried about anything else. And when you go back and watch it, you don't remember the details of the shoot, but you can easily remember the energy.
Oh my god! What the fuck are you doing?
Okay, now go shoot it.
Now go shoot it.
That shaky little clip of me and my friend messing around in my childhood yard feels way more sentimental and nostalgic than any clip I look at taken with my phone. I think that's why I've always been drawn to this kind of look, and just recently I've been fascinated with it. Even in the stuff I make now, I find myself reaching for those older styles by altering my video in Premiere Pro so it has the flicker, posterized look, and a vibe right out of an old camera. Recently I've made some of my favorite videos with that style, and these are the ones that look the most visually interesting and scroll stopping. This isn't because they were the best edited or most planned out, but because they reminded me of the way I used to see the world. When I was younger, everything felt a little bit more magical, and when I use that style now, it kind of pulls me back into that headspace. And this doesn't even mention the music. The music involved in these videos, when that's playing alongside it, it pulls me into a whole different world. I think it's also important to mention the topic of dreamcore when talking about this, because a lot of the stuff I make now leans into that too. It's kind of hard to define, but basically it's about creating that feeling of a dream you barely remember, or a place you think you've been before. You probably have seen TikToks or videos on this before if you're watching this video, and they normally have some hazy lighting, quiet spaces, nostalgic colors, or just weird anomalies of places that shouldn't exist. Stuff that feels familiar but also a little off. Maybe something you've seen in your dreams, or you saw in a catalog sometime when you were a kid. It's like nostalgia and surrealism had a baby, which is a literal perfect combination for me. Dreamcore is about evoking a feeling, a mood, or a memory that you can't quite name. And that's the reason people love Super 8 film or old digital footage, because it evokes an emotion, and most of the time you probably can feel it. As a lover of visuals and all things creative, this aesthetic struck something in me when I recently saw it pop up in things I've seen this year. One of the best examples I can think of is in Severance Season 2, Episode 7, where a collage of flashbacks of Mark and Gemma is shown in striking vintage visuals, with a horrifyingly beautiful Italian song playing in the background. It was a breathtaking way to show their relationship and convince us that their relationship was real and meant the world to Mark. And it makes all the scenes of his loneliness and sadness before and after much more heartbreaking. Then there's all the TikToks I've been seeing that aren't only successful in engagement, but touch a specific nerve that no other videos can in some people, including me. Some may say these videos are kind of sad or depressing, but I think tapping into the vulnerability of tough topics like growing up, heartbreak, and missing your past through this nostalgic lens allows us to more easily come to terms with our current situations. Some videos feel like grand realizations of all things that make us who we are, and some are simpler but just as impactful statements from a user who struggles with something. In a world that moves faster each passing day, we need these kind of videos that literally slow us down and tap into those memories. The nostalgic visuals can help tell that story and pierce the message into our core, making the video stick and hit harder than we thought. And just think about what's going to make something more memorable, a style you yearn for but don't see much of, or the same deadpan slop we see in everything else online. The dreamcore nostalgic aesthetic may be small in comparison to the rest of the jumbled mess of content online, but I'd argue that in my generation, it can be the most effective way to get a deeper meaning across. So maybe that's why this kind of footage sticks with us, because it's about a feeling. It's about capturing life in a way that feels a little softer, a little more forgiving. High definition might show you exactly what happened, but nostalgia footage shows you what it means for the people inside it. I see all the time that people are shooting their weddings on Super 8 cameras because that's how it feels. That memory is going to be remembered forever in that kind of vibe that the Super 8 can give. There's something powerful about letting go of clarity and embracing the blur and grain and perfection, because that's how most of our memories live anyway. They live a little distorted, a little sweet, a little sad, and maybe chasing that look doesn't allow us to escape our present, but it can be our way of remembering who we are.
What you got, Larry?
Would you rather wear shorts for the rest of your life or have no hair, and why? Shorts again or
no hair? That one.
Never
I already will never wear shorts.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I have no hair.
No hair?
Shorts, bro.
Shorts are gas. No hair.
I agree. No hair.
Yeah, I like retro aesthetics. Well, and I suppose I like more of an analog, vintage look when it comes to photography and filmmaking, because I just think when you have that kind of style with your work, it relies heavily on you having a compelling story. So I'm not really trying to trick the audience with pretty visuals or gimmicks or a lot of tricks with editing or anything like that. I'm just using the subject matter in front of me to tell a story. And I do think that this analog retro filmic style, it places the viewer in a nostalgic frame of mind, which is easy to identify with. I think it reverts us back to a time when we were younger, or just it romanticizes the environment so much that it's easy to connect with, and I just really appreciate that kind of feeling. It's like when you open a photo album of old photographs when you were a kid, or when your parents first met, or looking through a yearbook of when you were in middle school. It's just such a nostalgic, warm feeling that you get, and you don't necessarily get that with all of the high quality, super cinematic stuff that a lot of people shoot with nowadays. Renoir actually has, he's a famous painter, Jean Renoir. He has a quote: when artists start to busy themselves with the technical side of artistry, filmmaking, photography, anything like that, when they start to busy themselves with the technical side of it, meaning, you can use all kinds of technologies to produce a beautiful image, it actually starts to level the playing field in a sense, and makes everybody's work kind of mediocre. So think about that. If everyone's shooting with their iPhone, or if everyone has access to really great high quality cinematic cameras, and everyone's concerned with very pretty visuals and cinematic lighting and elevating the environment so much so that the viewer almost gets numb to it, because it's something that we're seeing all the time now. We're focusing less on story, and we're focusing more on just something being pretty. And that's something that can maybe sustain someone's attention for the first few seconds, maybe the first few minutes, but after that, it really starts to feel hollow. And we see that a lot with Netflix and all these new shows on TV, and there's so many tricks and things that are designed to sort of keep our short-term attention, but when we really focus on the story, we kind of start to realize, oh, this show kind of sucks.